All right, I think it's safe to get started. We're just a little bit after 11 o'clock, and we do like to be timely here at the Chamber. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Chamber Masterclass. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Barbie Holland, sales consultant here with the Halifax Chamber of Commerce. Today's presentation is with Eric Fry, president and owner of Sandler Training. I'll let Eric dive into the content in more detail, but can assure you that he is the master of sales and is going to discuss how you can move from the vendor position to an advisor. Sales can be tough, so Eric will teach you all how to differentiate yourselves from your competitors. A couple of housekeeping. Feel free to type questions in the chat box, and Eric and I were chatting briefly prior to opening up the guest room, and we're going to chat through this presentation in an open format. So we'll do our best to address all your conversations and your questions and talk it through during the presentation. That's the format of this morning's presentation. So welcome to Eric, or welcome Eric. Thank you for joining us, and I'll hand it over to you now to get started.
All right. Well, thanks, Barbie. Welcome, everyone. Definitely recognize a couple of names here for sure. Maybe what we could do, listen, I'm a kind of an informal person here, so this is going to be, rather than chat back and forth, let's just have a conversation as we go through this. And if you have questions, just shout them out, maybe raise your hand or something, just so I can kind of see what's going on, rather than trying to monitor the chat box and that sort of thing. First things first, is it okay if everybody can turn on their webcam? Assuming that we're not in our jammies right now, home and doing our thing, but we're probably all working somewhat remotely. But if you can, maybe just turn your webcam on just so I can kind of put a face to the name. That would be awesome.
Eric?
Yes.
I'm going to chime in. It's Barbie. Sound is low, so I'm getting a couple of comments that the sound quality is a little low.
A little low. Okay, let me. All right, how's that? Is that better?
I'll get the ladies to, Vanessa and Colette, do you want to let us know if that sound is better from Eric?
I'm getting a cup of tea, so my camera's not on. I'll be right back. Can you speak again, Eric?
How's that? Is that okay?
It's a little lower than normal, but I mean, I can hear you, but it just seems a little low.
Geez, that's strange. Okay.
Seems okay to me.
Barbie's much louder, but that's.
Oh, thanks, Vanessa.
Let me grab my tea and I'll put my camera on. Hold on.
I've turned the volume up. You are much lower, but I think I've got the volume up, so I can hear you fine now.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Turn up the volume, everybody. Turn up the volume.
Turn up the volume. Turn up the volume. Okay. All right. Let's jump in. So we're going to try to cover a bunch of stuff here today. You know what? Some of this, because I recognize some of your names, might be a little redundant, but that being said, that's all good. So now you're experts in certain parts of this thing. But as I said, lots of communication back and forth. We might even try a breakout room and to have a couple of smaller discussions as we go through it. But let's just see what we're going to look at today. We're going to cover the following. What does success mean? You know, how do we truly achieve success in sales? There's probably a bunch of models out there, but I'll take you through ours, and we can have a kind of a chat about that. Next is, how do we as professional salespeople keep our funnels full, right? We're all accountable for results and that sort of thing. So how do we make sure that we've got enough in the funnel to make sure that we can hit our goals, whether they're weekly, quarterly, monthly, what have you? Then we're going to dive into, I assume everybody is in sales here. So how do we engage new clients, right? So how do we, using some prospecting methods, how do we truly engage people rather than just kind of, show up and throw up, for lack of a better term? Because there's a lot of people out there and everybody's competing in the same space. if we have time, we'll touch on, setting mutual expectations all the way through the sales process with our clients. Okay, and then we'll wrap it up. Thumbs up if that sounds good, or if we want to change anything. All right, good. Okay, so let's get rocking here. All right, first of all, how are we feeling? I mean, holy crap, what a ride it's been the last 5 months, with everything going on and all this craziness happening around us. I'm sick and tired of using the COVID word, but how are we feeling? Are we feeling like we're spinning out of control? Are we feeling good? Are we feeling productive? Vanessa, let's just get a quick feedback from you. How are you feeling overall?
Well, I'm one of the folks that lost their job because of COVID. So I was working in the not-for-profit sector.
Yeah.
But I've started my own business. So I'm doing not-for-profit strategic consulting and recently launched. And so I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling good. I took an opportunity and ran with it. So let's do it.
All right, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
How about Gareth?
Hi, Eric. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect. Kind of same here. I'm definitely feeling thankful. I'm a new graduate from Dalhousie. I just graduated in May, so I was working here at CUA in the credit management department and just kind of recently transitioned over to the advising role. So I'm definitely new to the game. So definitely feeling very thankful to have worked kind of throughout the period. So that's pretty well it for me though.
Okay, good. How about one more? Let's see. Emma Kelly. And you're muted, Emma, by the way, if you can hear me okay.
There, can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Similar to Gareth, I also work at CUA. I'm a financial advisor, so I'm very happy to have got to work the full way through, kept a consistent paycheck.
Yeah.
It's been eye-opening helping clients who haven't had the same fortune of getting to work or receiving a paycheck. So seeing the other side of it has been a little scary, but hopefully we're coming to an end, or I don't know.
Or a manageable state, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because a lot of people are struggling right now, gang. They find that managing their time, managing their day, being productive is a challenge. They're out there, they're breaking lots of rocks, but they're really not doing much with it, right? There's a real difference between being busy and being productive. I know I've been caught in that busy vortex where all of a sudden we're just inundated with stuff that's keeping us busy and taking our time, but we really don't feel good at the end of the day or the end of the week because we haven't been as productive as we might like. Randy, have you ever experienced that, or are you like the production master? You're muted. There we go.
Sorry, production master? Not really sure what you mean exactly, to be honest.
Well, I mean, you find that you're busy, or are you staying highly productive, Randy?
Okay. Yeah, it's, sales, I think, you can always be busy in sales, which is, I guess, the thing I love about it is that there's never not something to do. But a lot of the times, the busy stuff like cold calling and researching people you want to reach out to and figuring out how to get a hold of them, it's not very fruitful right away, as you can say.
Right.
So if you're a salesperson and you say, I'm not busy, regardless of how the economy is doing, you're probably not doing a very good job. But I would say I'm busy, but not making anywhere near as much money as I would be if we weren't in the middle of this now.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I think with all the changes, gang, we need to be, we gotta stay focused. And my hope today is that, you can walk away with a couple of ideas or techniques or strategies that you can implement in your system right off the bat, literally today, and help us continue on that productive upswing. So let's talk a little bit about success. You know, what is success? So from our standpoint, it's really a three-legged stool, and three components make up a successful business person, a successful salesperson. The first is attitude, and as far as I'm concerned, gang, attitude is everything. You know, I mean, times like this and other times as well, where our attitude wanes and can wane from time to time. You know, even the best of us, right? I mean, it's hard to be clicking your heels every day, and you know, sales is not that place to get our emotional needs met, right? And sometimes we get clouded with negative self-beliefs. We're going to talk about that in just a second. All right. The second pillar would be behaviors. So let's say that we've got a good attitude. We feel good about our product, our service, our client base, our territories, our opportunity. Then what is our behavior plan? We're going to touch on that as well. So what do we need to do on a daily basis and on a weekly basis in order to stay productive? Right? So we call it a cookbook. So we're going to talk about that. And then the third area is, okay, I've got a good attitude. I've got my plan laid out. Now, how the heck do I do it? What are the techniques that I need to do? You know, how do I engage a new prospect properly? How do I manage my time? How do I ask the right questions? Right? How do I manage expectations? All of this stuff. I'm a firm believer that everybody knows what to do, but sometimes the how can get in the way, and the how is the tricky part. And so that's what we're going to focus on a little bit, is here's how to do some of these things. But let's start off with the notion of what we call head trash. Head trash. All right. Let's go to, let's see, who haven't we heard from yet? James Webster. James, if you can hear us, how would you define head trash? What does that mean to you? What does that conjure up in your head?
Well, the things that basically creating confusion, you're not focused, things that might create a lot of interruptions.
Yeah. Okay, good. Let's keep going with that. Emma, how would you define head trash?
Anything that maybe prohibits you from being productive or holds you back, your own thoughts, negative thinking.
Yeah. What's an example, Emma? I mean, we all have it. We all have to manage through. We've got to isolate it and get rid of it. But what's maybe one example in your world?
I find sometimes if I have a lot to do, instead of just doing it, I think about how much I have to do, and that overwhelms me, and maybe I start being do some procrastinating, put things off.
Procrastination. Yeah, I mean, these are things that can just kind of get in our way. Colette, what's an example in your world? You know, between the ears, what's a negative? What's an artificial barrier that might be holding you back?
I guess it could be some limiting beliefs, or the inner critic for me right now is I'm totally switching up my business because I was in-person speaking, training, coaching. So I'm redoing 2 websites and working harder than ever and making 1/10 of the money. So it's like, am I doing all this work and it won't pay off anyway? Like, when will it pay off? I'm more exhausted. I'm 20 years in business, 10 years commission sales. I know what it's like to have ups and downs, but I'm tired.
Yeah. Well, good for you for reinventing yourself. A lot of businesses have had to do that. A lot of people have had to do that. Just had the conversation with the gang from the chamber, and so we are now purely online, right? Because nobody wants to be crammed into a training center, because a lot of it is the experience in being there, right? And if you can't sit side by side with a bunch of people and have open conversations, then it's probably not really going to work out too well. So we've switched all of our training to online. So we've kind of pivoted. That's an overused word sometimes, but yeah, you wonder, you know, head trash. God, is this sustainable? Can I make this work? Maybe I don't have it. Maybe this new model isn't gonna. So we all kind of go through it, right? Some people think, well, I can't get to the right decision makers, or God, I can't close business fast enough. And these are all kind of negative self-beliefs that we need to kind of overcome. So typically what we would do is we would go into a group discussion. There's a small group here today. Anybody else want to, as you think about that, what's your head trash now that, COVID has set in? Maybe it's exacerbated it a little bit. Anybody else want to share? I know sometimes this is a bit personal, but
I'll share, Eric. I'll share. Well, as someone who's kind of ventured on my own in the consulting world, I am suffering from imposter syndrome. And that's my head trash, because I've been in the not-for-profit sector and the sales sector, everything for well over like 25 years.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking, and I mean, I have a couple of clients. So I mean, people will pay me for my services. However, it's always that little nagging thing in my head saying, who's going to keep paying you for your services? And I know I'm good at what I do. I know that, and I've been told that, and it's like, but it's in my head, that little voice saying, that little doubt. And, I am part of the SEB program through Seed. So, I mean, I have that sort of advisor and input from them. But when I'm sort of sitting here thinking, and I've had amazing conversations with people, that want to work with me, but it's still that's my head trash right now. It's that imposter syndrome.
It's interesting. So am I worth it? Is my expertise and my knowledge worth somebody paying me for? Is that what you mean? And
they are paying me. People are paying me. So I just got to sort of get over that. And
just isolate it. And so if it's, if it's happening, it's all these positive affirmations and isolating this crap, frankly, that we need to get rid of, right? So there's a perfect example. We are, for whatever reason, we're on a roll in the last 4 or 5 months. I mean, we're signing a bunch of new businesses and new clients and that sort of thing. And so, but when times get tough, that's when you start to kind of question yourself. And say, what, am I built for this business? Am I, is it sustainable in this new world? All that kind of stuff. So anyway, not to belabor this, but everybody has head trash. And that's why it's at the top of that pyramid, because it's all about our attitude. If we're putting ourselves behind the 8 ball right off the bat, we're setting ourselves up for probably some failure, right? So anybody else want to share before we move on? Or is this getting way too deep? Gareth, you're looking really concerned.
Can I speak to something?
Yeah, sure, Barbie.
I just, in my role here at the Chamber, and when I look at the entrepreneurs that we have on our call today, and they're working for themselves and they're pushing it and driving it every day, at networking events, I do find that it's harder to sell yourself, Eric. It's harder to sell yourself. I work for the Chamber. I have a great brand behind me, so I'm selling the Chamber. But if I were to branch out and say, Barbie Holland can do this, and I can offer this, and Eric, you have the brand of Sandler, but I hear what you're saying, to speak to that, Vanessa, and I know very well that you and other people on this call, and Colette, you're amazing at what you do, but we're not Maritimers, we're not boastful. I mean, you get someone come across the border from the States or maybe down from Toronto, and they'll talk the talk and tell you what they can do and be very proud of it. It's part of our DNA to not promote ourselves to the ability in which we can do business, whether it's for a non-for-profit or if it's for yourself, Vanessa.
Yeah, I agree, Barbara. When someone said to me, you are an expert, and I hate the word expert. It's like, oh, I'm an expert. But
doesn't it feel good when they say that?
Well, I mean, excuse my language, but I know my shit. I mean, I know what, I've listened, and even with sales, I mean, I've been in sales for, Eric, I've been in sales. I know how to sell. Like, I've got all the skills, I got everything I need, but it's just that reaffirmation, and yeah, it's weird. It's really weird.
Vanessa, an expert is just knowing more than the average person. You're well beyond an expert. You've got to own that, because people hire experts, right?
Thank you, Colette.
I'm saying this to myself as much to you, right? So that's what we have to tell ourselves, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Colette. I appreciate that. I really do. And I've known you for a while too, and I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words of support. I really, really appreciate it. It makes me feel good today. So thank you.
Yeah. So imagine startups, imagine a startup with, that the conviction that they must have, in order to build from nothing to whatever they end up, exiting for. I mean, an unwavering belief, right? And that's kind of the same thing here. I know I'm probably getting a little over dramatic and all that kind of stuff, but it's just so important. Attitude is everything. You are all experts in your field. So, feel good about it. All right. God, we could talk ad nauseum on this, eh? Okay, so let's get now definitive in what is a personal challenge that you have with respect to sales. It can be anything, but let me put some parameters around it. It can't be the weather. It can't be the economy. It can't be, COVID this and COVID that. Even though these are all real factors, it's got to be something controllable. So what I'm asking you to do is think about one challenge that you might have with respect to sales. And so if you were to start it off by saying, I would be a rock star in sales if only I could, maybe do this better. What does that sound like in your world? So think about it just for a minute, and then I'm going to write a couple of these down because we'll probably use these a little bit later. And don't overthink it, but just think about, something that my biggest challenge in sales. So here's one to kind of start us off. I hate prospecting for new business. I get antsy. There's like a 900-pound gorilla on the phone that I can't seem to get off the receiver every morning if I have to make some cold calls. Some people don't make cold calls. I don't know if you do or not, but that could be another one. I hate cold calls, and that's a big personal challenge that I have. I'm just coming up with a couple of ideas, but I'm curious, what's holding you back? Let's start with Emma. Emma, what's one thing that you wish you were better at in sales?
Well, I was going to say the cold calling. I find that I feel like I'm an annoyance, or that I'm taking time of their day, when a lot of the time they are interested in hearing what you have to say.
Yeah.
So just kind of selling whatever I am trying to tell them about can be difficult if it's not something they approach me about.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So again, that's kind of head trash, isn't it? Oh God, I'm an annoyance when people actually pick up the phone. Please don't answer because I'm going to be an annoyance kind of thing. And I'm making a little bit of a light of it, Emma, but I know exactly what you're saying. I've heard this 100 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about another one? Randy, what's one thing you want to be better at in sales?
Yeah, the cold calling is definitely the monkey on my back. It's I wouldn't say I'm a natural at this. There are some people, for whatever reason, actually enjoy calling up strangers and, trying to convince them into having a conversation about why they should purchase a product or service from you. It's not my thing. I'm, very good at researching and learning about them. And, once you're a customer, I excel at keeping them happy and learning what makes them tick. And but getting that foot in the door is a challenge. And I just, I do it, not a lot. I don't think cold calling is as important or productive as it used to be. The communication methods, a lot of people don't answer their phones anymore. They just let it go to voicemail, and they deal with texts and in emails and stuff. So I think we have to rethink that, but that's definitely my challenge.
Okay, good. Appreciate that. Gareth, you're new in your role, so you got no baggage. It's all good from here on out, right? But what's one challenge that you want to isolate here?
I guess my main challenge kind of goes hand in hand with what Randy and Em were saying, being new to the game and kind of trying to figure it out as I go. And it's been trial by fire kind of here and there for the last few months for me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of surrounding the cold calling as well. But I guess when I started as an advisor, everything's been so unorthodox for me in regards to training, what it's supposed to have looked like over the last 3 to 6 months, and then actually what kind of panned out with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So everything I've done's been unorthodox in that sense. So it's been tough for me to, do the cold calling, kind of prospect, I would say, new members, but also in a sense of building my professional network, because I would have, pre-COVID, I would have been going with my kind of direct manager at the branch to her networking events to try to build a professional network, whether that's centers of influence through brokers or real estate agents or anything like that. So I've found that kind of my biggest challenge for sure, just because it's, I like that stuff. That's kind of my bread and butter. I love going to events like that throughout kind of university, any social networking stuff. So it's tough for me to try to figure that out in a kind of virtual sense, I guess, because there isn't a lot of opportunity for that right now.
Right.
That's definitely my biggest challenge, though.
Okay. All right. So I'm sensing a bit of a theme here. So if we were to really kind of hone in and focus this presentation on, some effective prospecting methods, and then crafting a bit of an introduction to kind of take the pressure off you and the prospect. Would that be helpful? Yeah. Randy's giving me a thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. All right. Got it. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Let's touch real briefly just on a couple of topics. Sales is a slight edge business. It's a slight edge business. And what this typically means is, I think everybody on the call has probably got some competition, right? Everybody is either direct or indirect competitors. So when I say a direct competitor, for me, it would be a direct competitor would be another training organization. An indirect competitor might be do nothing, right? Or invest this money elsewhere within the organization, right? So we're always competing against something that might not be overly obvious and that sort of thing. But sales is a slight edge business because, who's kidding who? As awesome as our product and service is, in the eyes of the prospect or the person on the other side, it's kind of all the same. So if they're looking at a proposal from you and a proposal from your competitor and maybe one other indirect competitor, if we don't differentiate ourselves, how are they going to probably make the decision? What's the one criteria that they would use to make the decision?
I'll answer that.
Yeah.
For me, and I was listening to the talks about cold calling. Like, if I ever do a cold call, it's not a sales call. It's a discovery call. So it's not about trying to push a product on someone. It's really trying to find out if they have needs. I'm doing all kinds of that right now and having great conversations with organizations, not even making any sales.
That's excellent, Vanessa.
Yeah, so that's, as I say, I've got a little bit of experience in this. So, I don't think, but in terms of, what was the question again? I had a great answer and I can't remember what it was.
This is all really good. So tell me what you mean, what this means to you. Sales is a slight edge business. What's that mean to you, Vanessa?
Really good response. It was to do around the cold calling, but oh crap! Now I can't remember.
Well, let me help you along here. So
just said something that would trigger my memory.
So we've all got competitors. We're all kind of seen as the same. So unless
yes, I remember what it was. Back to the relationship piece. I think what the deciding factor really is when it comes down to people looking at proposals is that whole relationship piece, and are you the fit for the business? So. Yes, I have competitors. There are lots of other not-for-profit and fundraising consultants out in the marketplace. How I'm going to differentiate myself, really, it's building those relationships, with organizations. And if there's a fit, they'll see the value, right? So for me, it's relationship. It's building that relationship, not just trying to push your product or your service on someone just because you have to make a sale. I don't operate that way. I never have, and I don't plan to in my business either.
So Barbie kind of started the conversation off earlier saying, you know, you're going to learn ways to differentiate yourself. And this is the crux of it. We need to be different, guys. We have to differentiate ourselves from our competitors, because if we don't, we're stuck in a vortex here. A lot of people are buying more products and services based on the skills of the salesperson, not because of you know, quality and service features and that sort of thing. So we need to be, and this came from Harvard Business Review, so it's got to be true. But you know, we know what it's like to be on the other end of a sales call that, you know, they're just not setting themselves apart. They're not, you know, they're not doing things differently. They're just kind of like everybody else. And there's no relationship there, as Vanessa said. So, and this is the kind of the backdrop of it. You know, if we're stuck in a vendor space, if we act like a vendor, so let me ask, let's go to James. James, when you think of a vendor-based relationship or a vendor-based sales cycle, what do you think of? What are some words that you conjure up in your mind to describe that?
Can you say that again?
A vendor, like what does vendor mean to you?
Well, to me, it's just someone who comes and sell you a product without establishing the value of it.
Yeah. So it's very transactional, very kind of non-relationship and that sort of thing, versus being an advisor, you know. And Emma, I'm sure you've got, in fact, I think you are a financial advisor. So what does that mean to you? What's the difference when you're viewed as an advisor by your clients?
Well, they're not expecting you to sell them something because you need the sale. It should be helping them or giving them the solution to the problem they're coming to you with, or you're helping them achieve something. So whether they're coming for a mortgage, you're giving them the best advice on what they should do or how they should proceed with doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In some cases, you're almost an extension of their business or an extension of their, you know, themselves. So price becomes way down the list, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But vendors, they're, you know, if you act like a vendor, you're going to get treated like a vendor, and then you're not differentiating, and so the decision is going to be based on price. And anybody can sell based on price, right? Discount, and it's just not a cool place to be.
Can I speak to that, Eric, for a sec?
Yeah, sure, Barbie.
Whenever you had the tier and you're thinking of a vendor, what came into my mind was we're coming into the season where we need snow tires, right? So is that a vendor? You're just going to get tires, you need them on your car, we're going to make the best of it, or you're going to go to an advisor. For me, I'm on the road to Prince Edward Island, or are you on the road for sales? Someone on the call this morning was driving through Nova Scotia, or do you go, you know, 20 miles within your home and that's your travel? Or are you going to be on the highways up the valley down to Yarmouth for your job? There's a difference in what you need those tires for. I mean, snow tires are not just snow tires, just snow tires. Do you want them studded? So again, when you talk to someone getting your tires, are they going to be a vendor? Take these tires and go, don't need to see you again? Or are you going to be an advisor and say, oh my goodness, I know your lifestyle, I know what you're doing, I know you have children and you're on the road for sales?
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, wouldn't it be great? Yeah, I mean, and that's the power of questions, right? When you're buying something, you want them to understand you and connect with you and engage with you by asking questions and giving a shit about, you know, the real thing that you might need. What a concept, right? So yeah, that's a great way to differentiate, Barbie, for sure.
Yeah, and just to speak from the chat, I'll share what's happening here in the chat. So Colette mentioned, is it a sale or is it solving their problem? And of course, Vanessa came back and, right, it's exactly solving the problem, as these ladies know too well. You just...
Yeah.
I agree with Barbie. I mean, for an example, I met with what was then a potential client. We had a great conversation. They basically said they didn't have any money to start. So I said, I'll have a conversation and see. Well, by the end of the conversation, they saw the value of working with a consultant, and they're paying me now, and they had no money. So if I'd gone in trying to make a sale and gave them a price like up front and didn't have a discussion and sort of realize what their pain points were, then Colette's right on. It's about solving a problem. It's not about making a sale and clicking it off your box and walking home with a commission. Like,
Love it. Love it. I should turn this whole thing over to you and Colette. I mean, you know, you
I think we can do it. What do you think, Colette?
All right. Just a little bit on communication stuff. This is the effectiveness of the modes of communication. Now, this is why we're doing it. This is why I have all my sales calls on Zoom. I don't hardly use the phone anymore. I use Zoom because we can't get face-to-face. And so they can see body language. And body language represents over half of how we communicate. Right? Little things like gestures, eye contact, all that kind of stuff. So critical. And tonality is, well, if you have to use the phone, then, you know, you want to enunciate and you know, volume and pitch and that sort of thing. Right? These are basic communication skills. Stay away from email when it comes to trying to prospect for new business. Why do I say that, guys and gals? Or does somebody want to prove me wrong? And by all means, if you've got another view on this, let's have it.
Wouldn't you, if you had, I haven't done direct sales in 20 years. I will be doing more direct sales, but in the old days, you could have a really large list and send out and get a percentage back. So maybe if you're working with big numbers and you send something out, you'd get a very small percentage if it was crafted right or whatever. I think it's lower and lower, but if it only took you 10 minutes to do once a month, maybe there's value in that combined with some other stuff. But
okay, all right. Anybody have experience with mass mailings or mass emails?
In terms of emails, I think you have to be careful there. I mean, I've used email to prospect and I have been successful, but I have the belief that it's $1 a word. I don't give away the farm. I'm opening the door to a conversation. And if something tweaks there, I'm not giving offers and laying out all the services. And even when I was working in the not-for-profit sector, I didn't give out everything that charity does. It was, let's have a conversation. So my emails are very short and very targeted, and they seem to work. And they seem to be working for me now. But again, it's how you approach the email. A mass email thing, it can be a little bit impersonal if it's not personalized, I guess is the point.
I don't know how you guys react. I get 10 mass emails a day, right? And they're probably quickly deleted because, you know, nobody's done any research to get to know me or my company, or, you know, it's not targeted and it's just a waste of time, right? It's easy to do, call up for sure. Absolutely. But
Eric, what if the research was done up front and it was already targeted and you already went through all your LinkedIn research and you took, you've been watching these people for months, and then you take out and craft just the right title in the subject line. I mean, it ups the ante. I know email is that way, that, oh, I send an email, that's sales, but I still think there is a way to do it in combination with some other things. And again, that's not what I lead with, but just, yeah. I really believe LinkedIn gives you a lot of reasons not to have cold calls in general anymore. Yeah. And again, I spent 10 years of my life doing a lot of cold calling, but I haven't been hardcore. I will be again. And yeah. I see LinkedIn as a very valuable tool.
Absolutely. LinkedIn, yeah, InMail is a little different than email for sure. And LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn all day. And that's, you know, we teach processes in LinkedIn in our sales programs. And it's a brilliant tool. So because LinkedIn is a very much more customized approach, but a mass email through LinkedIn, I would strongly suggest not. But if it's a targeted note with some specifics around that person and you know, problems that you've solved for other, you know, similar organizations or companies, it's more effective. The point being that, you know, if we just communicated using email or just through LinkedIn and didn't bring in the body language and tonality, it's nowhere near as effective, right? So, okay, I'm going to cruise through a couple things here because I want to get to the guts of it. Give me some examples, guys, based on what we've talked about and from your personal experience. What have we done? Well, no, not us, because we're better than those other people. But what do other salespeople do sometimes to make prospects feel uncomfortable?
You got a book or what?
See,
I'll let someone else talk because I could go on for hours.
What's that?
I'll let somebody else talk because I could go on for hours.
All right. Let's go to James. James, what's one thing that salespeople tend to do that make their prospects feel uncomfortable?
Well, one of the things is being pushy, talking, not listening.
Perfect. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Gareth, one more.
I'd sort of just say from experience, people making a recommendation for me without having barely any preliminary information. So they don't really have anything to go off and don't know me very well, but then they recommend something to me right away, because that kind of just gets me in the frame of mind to be a little skeptical, I guess, kind of moving forward with them.
Yeah. And I just looked at the Colette's comment, assume that they know the prospect's business. You know what? That's pretty arrogant, right? And fairly obtuse when you think about it. So here's a rule. Some of you might have heard this before. It's a very simple rule. You might even want to write it down. It's very short, 30/70. So when we're speaking with a prospect or a client, do 30% of the talking, because people love to be listened to. That's our job. Our job is not to get in there and pound them with a bunch of features and benefits and statements about our business and how awesome we are. Even though we are awesome, who cares, right? What you need to care about is your prospect and your client. And if we're asking questions and listening to them and gathering the information, it changes, as my mom says, the water on the beans. The best way to move from vendor to advisor and the best way to stay in control of a sales cycle is you be the one asking questions. As much as we want to share all of our knowledge, because how awesome it is, it's not nearly as effective. That's my experience anyway. All right. So let's get into some prospecting. Here are some best practices. So first of all, we just got to get in our calendars. We need to commit to this. Does anybody do this today? Do we time block in our calendars for prospecting?
Yeah, we do here at the branch.
Yeah, Emma, what's that look like for you?
So the way we do it is on Wednesdays, I have my day blocked out for calls and no appointments, and the other advisor does Tuesdays.
Okay. So you block out like a whole day? Wow.
Yeah, we just found it was easier to commit that instead of having an hour or two blocked out, because that could easily be pushed aside if something more important came up that day or you needed an appointment at that time.
Okay.
It seemed like it was something we were constantly just moving to the next day or pushing off. So if you have the whole day, then you can save all your calls for that day and you don't book anything that day.
Okay. No, that's good. That's good. That's excellent. Anybody else do this today? Do they allot time in their calendars for prospecting? Because here's what can happen.
I actually don't allot it in my calendar. I do allot it in my my task manager. It pops up every day. I have weekly tasks, daily, monthly, and the daily one does include prospecting, and I have a goal number that I want to do minimum that day. It's hard for me to pick a specific time because I just get distracted to things that have to get taken care of. So I kind of whittle away at it, I guess, throughout the day. But I do have a reminder to myself that needs to happen every day.
Randy, has it ever happened to you when it's all of a sudden it's Friday afternoon and you realize, holy smoke, I haven't done anything this week?
Oh yeah. And then there's other weeks where you know, it's Wednesday and I've beaten what I did last week.
Perfect.
You know,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's always it varies.
Yeah. So we call it no pay time and pay time. Pay time is the stuff that is really going to help you meet your goals, you know, your sales goals. And that pay time stuff is directly client related. No pay time is everything else, all the admin stuff, all the stuff that's kind of coming at you that needs to be done. But who's kidding who? If we spend all of our time doing no pay time stuff, we wouldn't hit our goals. So I would encourage you to think about, and like Emma does, and Randy to some degree, just block it out in your calendar, an hour here, an hour there, or if it's easier to do a full day, but a full day of prospecting, boy, Emma, you must be exhausted after that.
Yeah, it's a long day.
Yeah. So anyway, so allot some time and use a variety of methods. Emma, how do you do it today? What's your prospecting method?
So it depends what I'm working on. If it's something to develop new relationships, it's just researching whether it's like energy efficiency companies in the area to call and discuss our financing options with them, or looking at different nonprofits in the area to reach out to offer our specific nonprofit banking package. It just depends on kind of what the need is at that time of the year.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of research before you actually do the initial call.
Okay. Yeah. So okay. So you're doing the research and then you're prospecting. So you're kind of bundling them together. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to get into actually specific prospecting methods. And the last thing that we want to do is develop a powerful introduction, right? So when we do get somebody on the phone, we engage them. Anybody ever get caught in that trap of when we get somebody on the phone, we might stutter or we might, you know, do all the talking and try to get it all in too fast and it just becomes a little less effective? I know it's happened to me before. So by the end of this session, you will all have your own little version of your 30-second commercial. All right. Let's start with some prospecting methods. Referrals. Man, referrals is huge. I don't know if you guys do it or not, but I don't know. I'd have to actually run the numbers again, but we're upwards of at least 75% of our business that's coming in is through referrals. It's huge. Vanessa, looks like you want to say something.
Yeah, I agree with the referrals. My business, honestly, the last two clients that I got were referred by someone else. However, I think referrals have to be careful too. Like, I won't refer someone just for the sake of referring. I mean, I need to be confident in when I'm referring someone to somebody that they are going to do a good job. So I know there's a lot of things out there where it's, you know, refer, but I'm very cautious when it comes to referring business to other people. If I have a connection with them, if I've done work with them before, because the worst thing you can do, and this has happened to me, is someone's giving me a referral because they've been under the pressure to give a referral, and it's been honestly a waste of time. So referrals are very powerful, and I built my whole, when I was selling photocopiers and printers at DataRight many years ago, my whole business was referral based.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how you do it, but I think on the receiving end, you got to be careful about giving the referrals as well. So you want a positive experience for both people.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agreed. And referrals, it's a two-way street, guys. It's called Emerson's Law of Compensation. You got to give to get, right? So in your activities every week, try to find out who you can refer to others, because that will come around to you, believe it or not, right? It's this karma thing or whatever. So, but we'll get into some of those details. But here's the numbers with referrals. 20% of your clients are already out there saying, you got to talk to Randy, right? Randy is a rock star. Bounty Print is wicked. All right. So that's why we get some referrals every now and then and you know, some inquiries and that sort of thing. Another 20%, you can ask them till you're blue in the face and it'll never happen. So we don't care about those people. It's the 60% that really represents the biggest opportunity? What do we think that 60% represents? What sector of the industry, of the marketplace? 20% are already giving, 20% won't, 60% represents what?
They haven't been asked.
Yeah, absolutely. 60% of your clients would be happy to give you a referral or a testimonial of some kind. We just got to put it in our weekly calendar to ask a few, right? And it can be a very seamless, smooth process as well. It doesn't have to sound salesy. Some people don't like asking for referrals. Oh, I haven't earned the right, or it sounds too salesy or cheesy. Again, head trash, right? Put that aside. You know,
Eric,
Barbie,
can I suggest a way for to get a referral or a testimonial? If I'm following up with a client and they say generous things, when I hang up, I might pick a couple of the sentences that they said in the phone call and send it back to them and say, hey, you were so generous to say these kind things about me. As an entrepreneur, I rely on word of mouth and referrals. Could you pop this on Google or LinkedIn or elsewhere? And it's already their words. You know, if you're comfortable with that, great. If, you know, whatever. And it's leading the horse to water a little bit more.
Brilliant. Love it. Love it. It does not have to be this arduous, you know, awkward process, right? So how we typically do it, and here may be a takeaway for you. Identify your top 10 clients, right? The ones that love you, those blue chip clients. Write them down and put it in your calendar that you're going to call each of these clients to thank them for their business. Barbie, the Chamber has been an awesome client. Really appreciate your business. Just want to make sure we're doing everything we can. How's it going? You know, blah, blah, blah. Look, Barbie, I don't know about you, but I know that a lot of our business lately is coming through just kind of word of mouth, of referrals. And I don't know if there's anybody that you would be comfortable introducing me to within your network, not for a sales conversation, but just a general conversation, and just kind of see if there might be a fit. Let's just kind of role play this out, Barbie. Yeah. So
you go?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Eric, I'd be happy to. I can introduce you to a couple of people by email and highlight your expertise at Sandler. And I'm sure they could use your skills and training. And hopefully, if you have any questions, you can circle back with me. But if you guys want to take it from there, I'll let you guys move forward with the email introduction.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, just to keep it easy, if you just want to email them and just copy me in, I can take it from there. So that's really appreciate that, Barbie. Sure.
Absolutely. And Eric, to further that, I will also add a link to their website, so you can just research a little bit more about who I'm going to be referring, and I will do the same for them.
Yeah, awesome. So you know what? I mean, that's obviously, and Barbie did a great job role playing. Yay, Barbie! Good job. Yeah. But you know what? It's those types of conversations. If you call your 10 best clients that love you, right? Chances are that they're part of that 60% group that would be happy to refer you. Make it easy for them. And I always say, just copy me and I'll take it from there, because I'm a bit of a control guy, so that, you know, so then I can apply my own process, my sales process, and have some conversations. So yeah, if you're not using referrals today, I would definitely encourage you to consider that.
The other thing too, Eric, is someone did a video testimonial for me, which I thought was something different. I mean, You see a lot of written, but she actually did a short video testimonial, which I'm trying to upload to various sources, but it works. People watch videos, so something to ask for. It takes no time.
Yeah, so take that video testimonial, put it on your LinkedIn profile, right in your, I think it's right below your picture. There's a spot where you can actually add videos. And
yeah, I'm trying to do that. I can't figure it out, but I'm gonna figure it out.
So referrals, one-way networking, obviously, you know, the face-to-face thing. The Chamber is really doing a great job of getting people back in rooms and that sort of thing. I just read that they've sold out their next networking event. So nice job on that. And then we get the cold calls, emails, trade shows, that sort of thing. Social media, I can't speak highly enough about social media. You know, the whole LinkedIn presence. If you're not on LinkedIn, and here's what I would encourage each of you to do. Maybe just take the note, connect with me on LinkedIn. So just connect with me if you were not connected already, and I will bounce back, and then we'll become a connection, and we can help each other, you know, build our networks for sure. And strategic alliances, there's another one, right? So, I mean, you know, if we can have companies kind of represent, you know, kind of almost be a salesperson for us out there, where they can engage you, Vanessa, to speak to, you know, a series of nonprofits that they're having at a luncheon, where you can do a little talk or something like that. Hugely powerful, hugely powerful. So, you know, a lot of people, they focus on cold calls. I got to do more cold calls. And I'm not, you know, I do cold calls pretty much every day, but I mix it up with a whole bunch of other things that I find equally important, or even more so. Curious, anybody else have any other prospecting strategies that they use that they could add into their cookbook?
I'll mention one. I think it's appropriate since this is a chamber event, educational event. Every time a new Business Voice magazine comes out, I'll go through, I read the whole thing, but I go to the new member section, and I try to find out, first of all, any businesses that we don't already do work with, and businesses that, I start with the ones that I think are most likely to need our products and services. And I use that as, it's more of a warm call. You've never talked to them before, but you can call and you can say, hey, the reason for my call, I saw that you're a new member. Congratulations, we're a member as well. And hopefully we'll see you at an event sometime soon. It's a nice icebreaker. It's worked. I've generated business several times that way.
Good, good. Yeah, Barbie talks, or sorry, Colette is talking about using groups on LinkedIn. That's a huge one.
Randy made a good point though. Like, I've had people contact me from Business Voice magazine, and it's been purely a sales pitch for them, and I've deleted it. So I think taking the approach that Randy had said, and I would do the same, is I see you're a member, hope to see you out at some events, and that's all I would say. I wouldn't even say what I did, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find that, you know, back to LinkedIn, it's so critical. I mean, I don't know if you guys get this from time to time, where people ask you to connect and then you hit okay, and then they send you a big pitch, right? It's like, break off, you know, that's not what this platform is used for. Sorry about my bad language, Gareth. I apologize for that. But yeah, LinkedIn can be an approach. Myself, not sure if it makes sense for us to even connect, or, you know, kind of push it off a little bit and keep it easy. Yeah, good.
I'm going to chime in, of course, at the Business Voice just really quickly. I encourage all of our members to take that piece of new and noted and members in the news, those two pieces. It's probably 7 to 8 pages in any magazine of our members sharing their content. And you can confidently say, if you want, oh, you've met with Barbie, you've talked to Barbie. I'm a seasoned networker. I go to a lot of the chamber events. I'd be happy to chat with you, or even narrow it down to, are you going to be going to the event on October 23rd? I'll be there. I'd be happy to meet you in person. We're getting out there. We are trying to meet in person. So sort of add a action item, if you will, and say, you know, welcome to the chamber. Yeah, let them know that you're a seasoned chamber member or a seasoned networker. Colette, you've been in business for 20 years. Again, Vanessa, I've been working with non-for-profits. I see you're a non-for-profit organization. I look forward to seeing you at an event. Here's my email. Feel free to let me know if you're going. A lot of people are a little timid to break the ice and get out there. And hearing from, I mean, of course, I talk the talk, but hearing from another seasoned chamber member, networker, I think that'd be a very welcome call.
Perfect. Love
and
it.
I've done that with people. I've offered to be kind of the wing woman for networking events. But the other thing too is I just sat before this call. I was in today's a national, it's a day of service of recognition for not-for-profit organizations. So they had an award ceremony today, the United Way and the Community Sector Council. And I was watching the Facebook Live feed, and I wrote down every award winner and every organization that won. And I'm also going to send a very short congratulations email, not introducing what I do,
Yeah.
Strictly from someone in the profession saying congratulations, well deserved, and leave it at that.
Perfect. Because if they're interested, you know, Vanessa, they're going to look at your profile
Right.
on LinkedIn, and then they might, you know, you never know. Exactly. Yeah. That's the whole Emerson's law of compensation. Just give, and it will start to come back. Yeah.
Can I say, if we're receiving so many emails today, that I started with a client sending out more regular cards, like congratulations cards to their clients, little notes. So, you know, it's going to stand out. You only have to stand out 1% and you're, you know, better than the next guy. So always have sympathy cards on hand, congratulation cards, birthday cards. I mean, we do a lot virtually with the happy birthdays and stuff, but again, they're going to remember your name. So, and it can even, the congratulations in particular, from, you know, reading the Chamber magazine, you can send off a card. You don't have to know people and say, as a fellow member of the Halifax Chamber, I was delighted to see that you were recognized and your name. And I would pop a business card in. It's not a sell, but you know, again, they're going to remember your name if it pops up somewhere else.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree with Colette. I mean, every thank you card I did when I was working with not-for-profit organizations was a handwritten thank you card.
Yeah.
So I plan to do the same.
I went and got these produced. It's got our little logo. It's a nice little size. It's nice linen paper. So, you know, we spend a little bit of money on it. And you know, I get a handwritten note and it means so much, you know, and it's so easy to do. So I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
And as a new business too, it's inexpensive. And what's it going to cost me? A few cards, some stamps. But the investment is priceless.
So this kind of wraps up the prospecting piece of it before we jump into our introduction. And this is simply our cookbook. And I would encourage you to create your own. This is mine, you know, and it helps us hold ourselves accountable. So Emma, you're dedicating a day. So, and these are outbound kind of activities, right? So, you know, and then we've got a little bit of a formula that we can start to create, because you know, this is an evergreen document that will be adjusting over time. When I first bought this business, God, almost 9 years ago, I was doing a ton of cold calling, ton of prospecting, and now I've built a nice base, and so it changes, your mix changes, but this just helps keep you accountable. So 5 referrals asked for a week. We invite people to sit in on our sessions, 3 of those per week. And that's a good prospecting tool as well, because, you know, guests can sit in and interact with our current participants and learn and network and that sort of thing. And so we've got a really high closing ratio for that. A couple of virtual networking events and phone calls, and, you know, so this is just mine. But when we look back at this slide and others, other tools, just kind of get something down, you know, and try to stick with it. Because this is highly productive pay time stuff that, you know, whether you're the business owner or whether you're a sales professional, we know we need to be doing. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you a crash course on our introduction, our you know, what we say and how we say it. Now, 1-word answers. Why do clients choose to do business with your company? I'd like a 1-word answer from everybody on the session. So Randy, 1-word answer. Why do they do business with your company, with Bounty?
Reliability.
Reliability. Colette?
Productivity.
Productivity. Vanessa?
Honesty.
Honesty. Emma?
Trust.
Trust. Gareth?
Trust as well.
Trust. Okay. James?
Friendliness.
Sorry, what was that?
Friendliness.
Oh,
friendly.
Okay. Yeah. Barbie, do you want to chime in?
Results.
Results. Okay. So just to think about it, you know, if we were all under a different banner and we did this again, you know, would we say the same kind of stuff, right? So, or if I was to work with your competitors, would they say the same thing? You know, so it just kind of gets us thinking. If we focus on why we believe clients do business with us, then we might miss the mark a little bit. So our job is to figure out, you know, what their reasons for wanting to do business are. So we already established, because I wrote a whole bunch of things down when we talked about your biggest challenge, and some of you are not really super comfy with, you know, that first interaction, whether it's over the phone or that sort of thing. So that's what this tool is designed to help with. Prospecting starts with fill in the blank. There's probably a few answers, but what does it mean to you? How would you fill that in with one word? Prospecting starts with a
Smile.
a what? A smile. Okay.
Smile.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello. Okay.
No.
All
I like
right.
what Colette said.
All that says connection. So this is where we got to take the pressure off, guys, because all we're doing is we're having a conversation. That's it, right? Because if we go into these things with these preconceived notions and ideas that we got to tell them everything and get it all perfect and that sort of thing, man, it adds a ton of pressure and stress to the whole process. No wonder nobody likes cold, right? But if we view it as, hey, I'm gonna have a bunch of conversations today, that has a different ring to it. So we need to figure out what's important to them. Because if I call up and say, hey, Gareth, I'm from Eric Fry from Sandler Training. We're the best sales training company in the world. We're so reliable and we provide a ton of value and, you know, benefit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you want to do business? Gareth, how do you feel about that approach? And I know I was kind of being a little extreme there, but.
Probably feel a little overwhelmed off the bat. Wouldn't really know how to respond, just if right off the bat you come in kind of guns a-blazing, lay everything out for me, and then ask to do business. Exactly. I would definitely need a lot more information, and then I would just be kind of caught off guard, I guess.
Yeah. So again, back to that 30-70 rule. Even when we're prospecting, we want to do the least amount of talking. And you're thinking, how the heck are you supposed to do that? Well, let's see what we can figure out here. You guys mentioned this before, and that's a key crux. Nobody take this the wrong way, but nobody cares about your product and service. Nobody does. What they care about is the problem that you can help them solve. All right? So instead of me saying we provide sales training, management training, leadership training, customer service training, assessments, and blah, 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 who cares, right? So we need to frame it in a way that we're solving a problem. And here's the tool. You may want to take a picture of this slide because this is a real helpful tool to help you isolate the problems that each of you solve for your clients. People care about the problems that you can help them solve. So our job is to give them a few examples, right? So this is called the pain discovery chart. So let's figure out the pains or the problems that you solve for others. So the context is you kind of work from left to right. So in this case, this is a feature that we offer. Because if I just focused on my features and benefits, it's not going to get me where I want to be. You know, hey, it's Eric Fry from Sandler Training. We provide online interactive sales training. So you're ready to buy some kind of thing? I mean, again, I'm being a little facetious, but nobody cares about the product or service. So as we go a little bit further right, okay, well, what's the benefit of this? And you're not taking them through this. This is just your tool to help you get to that fourth column. And the more examples in that fourth column that you can confidently and clearly articulate, the better. So online interactive sales training, what's the benefit? Well, geez, it would save time and travel expense. Okay. So what problem is that solving? Anybody watch Dragon's Den or Shark Tank? How many times have you heard them say, what's the problem that you're solving, right? And that's the whole point. So the problem that online interactive sales training solves is, you know what, there's people up in Bucktouche and, other remote areas. And and they're not able to gain access to the training that they need to help their business grow. Okay, so this now gets me to the pain statement or question. This is the goal. This is where we want to end off with. And here I'm going to get you to write down an acronym. It's called FUDWACA. Okay, so write down FUDWACA. F is frustrated. U is upset. D is disappointed. W is worried. A is anxious. C is concerned. And the other A is angry. Now there's others as well, challenged, struggles with. What are all these words? What do they kind of describe, guys? How would you characterize these words?
Pain points.
Yeah, they're kind of pain focused. Again, they're problem focused. So, some of our clients are concerned that they can't access the training to support and grow their business. Many of our clients are worried that their sales cycles are too long and causing cash flow implications. A lot of the sales professionals that we deal with, they're frustrated that they don't have a system to follow, so they wing it. Many of our clients are concerned that they're giving away too much consulting for free, right? These are all pain points in my business, in my world. And I can tell just by the body language, that kind of stuff, that it resonates because it's way more effective than, yeah, we provide sales training, leadership training, blah, 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 who cares? Does that make sense, guys? This is I'm giving you a whole lot of information in a short period of time, but let's try to come up with one pain question or statement in your world. Think about a product that you offer, the feature that you offer and the problem that it solves, and work in one of those FUDWACA words. We normally spend a lot more time on this, but I just want to make sure that you've, okay, so how much does it cost you to do nothing? Okay, call that really good. Or, how would we work in one of those FUDWACA words? Just because it really resonates with them that much more. Are you worried about the cost of doing nothing? Or are you concerned that by doing nothing, it might result in additional cost? I'm just trying to, I'm just spitballing here. Yeah. Anybody else want to give it a go? One feature, one product that you offer that nobody cares about unless you can demonstrate or give an example that, it can solve a problem for them. So it's like a third-party story. That's what it is. Barbie, let's go to the pro. What's one that you can think of?
Our group, the benefits that we offer for cost savings, tangible savings on their bottom line. So group health benefit is one. We have 9. We have banking with CUA. We have Grand and Toy. And I find that often members might join and wait a bit before they make those investigation calls, where they could be saving money sooner than later.
Yeah. So are you concerned that you're spending too much for health benefits with your current provider?
Or they don't have any at all.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go. So that's what we're doing. So it's all we're doing, guys, is turning it on its ear, right? Doing a kind of a 180 instead of saying, hey, we provide health benefits.
Yeah. Or this is a pitch, and I'm not just saying it because CUA is on the line, but they have a great program for non-for-profits. Do you know that, Vanessa?
Yes, I do, and I'm actually a CUA personal banking and business account with them as well. So
Ching,
I like
ching.
CUA.
There you go. So when I have non-for-profits join the chamber, I will highlight that portion of CUA's benefit provider of ours. I will highlight that with the non-for-profit, and it's sort of their ears perk up and they pay a little bit more attention because I'm now speaking to them specifically, as opposed to maybe the other 8 people in the room that are members. CUA has a designated program for non-for-profits that'll help them with their banking. And of course, everybody wants to save money, but non-for-profits like to hear that there's something specially designed for them.
Cool. Awesome. Didn't know that. Didn't know that. That's great. That's great. Let's go through this. Randy, I'm going to pick on you just for a second here. Let's walk through the pain discovery chart. Give me a feature of your business and we'll kind of walk through. So you're a printing company, right?
Yeah, I like to use the word visual communication. Just because I like to get people beyond, print on paper is a big thing that we do, but we also do other things. We can do signage, we can do window graphics.
Okay.
There's a lot to get the conversation going about. It's more than ink on paper, but I find bring up visual communications and it tends to lead into, oh, I didn't know you can print and install window graphics for my storefront.
Okay, all right. So the feature might be what, like multimedia
Sure.
Advertising? Okay.
Sure.
What's the benefit of that?
Well, it's a kind of a one-stop shopping. Like, if you're a small business, you don't have a staff necessarily to run around finding different suppliers to do all these different things, and knowing that we can do, of course we can do your business cards and your stationery and all those things. That's a given, but we all can also help you, with your vinyl graphics on your floor for social distancing during COVID, for instance.
Perfect. Okay, so I love the one-stop shopping. So that's the benefit. So what problem does that solve for your average prospect?
So it allows them to very quickly get multiple visual communication problems solved without having to retell your issues to 3 different suppliers, for instance.
Excellent.
You're probably dealing with me for all 3, and once we've worked once, the second time makes it easier going forward.
So let's wrap that up into a pain statement or question and try to put in one of those FUDWACA words. How would you, and just keep it really succinct and tight. So, many of our clients are what? Worried, concerned, frustrated?
I guess maybe let's go with anxious about not knowing the process of getting these things done. A lot of people don't understand what we need as far as printable, usable artwork. Once we've helped you through that, then it becomes easier for the next project and going forward. So taking some of the anxiety, I guess, out of the whole process.
Perfect. People love stories and they love vulnerability and they love, they don't like a flashy salesperson coming in and trying to pitch them on stuff. People like to buy. They hate being sold to, and those are 2 very different things. And this is a way to just kind of hand them on a silver platter some examples of problems that you've helped others in their particular business. And then you get the engagement, and then you get probably, further conversation rather than showing up and dumping them with your features and benefits, right? Seems very obvious, doesn't it? But nobody does it. It's so weird, So, so instead of Gareth, let's go back to you now. So now it's take 2. So Gareth, so let's say we're chatting at a networking event or something like that. Okay, you've got the easy part. You're the prospect, and I'm the salesperson. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so Gareth, I see you're in the banking business. What do you do there?
Just kind of offer full holistic approach to kind of people's financial needs. We look at the credit side of things, the deposit side of things, whether you're looking to save for retirement, planning for your children's education, or you might have financing needs for a new purchase of a house, or really anything and everything that you need you need or might need in the future, we can provide a benefit for that or a solution that will fit your needs and kind of tailor it for that.
Okay, good. So, and now I'm going to tell you about us. Okay, so so yeah, I own a little company called Sandler Training. I don't know. Have you ever heard of Sandler Training?
No, not until now.
Okay, yeah. Well, a lot of people don't, so I'll have to get after my advertising guys and tell them to do a little bit of a better job. But basically, we work with all kinds of businesses, and actually, one of our key clients is Community Credit Union in Truro and Amherst, and we help them in a variety of ways because when they first came to us, they were really concerned that their leadership was not managing the sales team properly. And the sales team were really concerned that they didn't have any kind of a system to follow for sales, whether they're selling investments or what have you. So they were winging it and they were just firing over quotes. And their frontline staff just had a complete discomfort with, engaging members on a comfortable basis because they had no idea how to communicate effectively from a sales standpoint. Any of those issues resonate with you with CUA?
Personally, I think that there's always kind of opportunity for change and growth and for everybody to evolve. So there are definitely some areas I think that there could be some benefit there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So time out. So basically I gave, and nice job, by the way, Gareth.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, Gareth, some examples of problems that we've helped with somebody similar in his industry, from a leadership standpoint, salesperson and frontline staff, rather than pounding him with a whole bunch of features and benefits, which frankly, he wouldn't really care about. And if we're at a networking event, he's probably looking over my shoulder to see who else he can talk to at this point. Right. So yeah, just a different approach to introducing yourself. And so this is the formula, a little bit about who you are and what you do. And I say a little bit because this is where people can lose it. They can go on ad nauseum about everything that they do and all that kind of stuff. So it just kind of gives them context, a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then drop in a couple of those, we call them third-party stories, which are what you've developed or what you're developing on that previous slide here, these problems that you solve for other people. And then a hook question. Anybody recognize my hook question in my little role play there? Did you pick up on that? What did I ask after I shared some examples with Gareth? It's the easiest part of the whole process. And a question could be anything. It's got to be relevant for you. But, I said, Gareth, curious, what any of those resonate with you, right? Or do any of these issues sound familiar? Or, all you're trying to do is get some engagement based on the examples that you've just provided them, whether or not that any of those challenges are real in their world. Now, this takes some time to kind of practice and get good at. So is it something, guys, that you think would help you in your sales process, especially if we're kind of having to do this on a regular basis, which is to reach out to people? Let's go to Emma. Emma, I think you said that, your comfort level with prospecting wasn't where you wanted it to be. Would this help at all, do you think, Emma?
Yeah, because I find you kind of have to sell the person in the first few seconds or they're totally not listening to you anymore. So if you can keep them engaged on the phone and then make it relevant to their specific situation or personal problems, if you have a solution for that, I find that's something that usually gets a phone call turned into a meeting or an appointment with a member.
Yeah. And that's exactly what we're after. We're after, finding a little bit of pain, right? Because people will buy for their reasons. So we're just giving them some examples. And if they engage, then we found some pain. And then hey, look, you know, maybe it makes sense that we schedule some time over the phone or a Zoom call or whatever, you know, face to face when COVID passes, and schedule a meeting, and then you begin your sales process. This is simply a prospecting tool. You're not selling here. This is prospecting. This is just qualifying whether the person that you're speaking with makes sense as a potential client at some point. So again, it just takes the pressure off and makes it conversational. All right. I'm going to stop there because I think we've only got a couple of minutes left, and I think Barbie wants to wrap it up. But I just want to say thanks a lot, guys. You know, I really enjoyed the interaction and your, you know, your stellar role-playing abilities, Gareth. You're a natural. So thank you for that, and I will hand it over to Barbie.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. And yes, I love the interaction on these calls. And this morning, everybody was great to, I don't know, maybe you're in your comfort zone or maybe you stepped out of it. Either way, it's great to see you help yourself. And sometimes when other people role play and answer some questions, it's helping other people on the call. And I always find when you have a group, whether it's in a room or on Zoom, it's nice to be engaged. To speak also to the point of finding a hook question, and I can speak to Randy and to Gareth and everyone from CUA and Vanessa and Colette. If you also want to let them know that maybe you can be your one-stop shopping. So I look at you, Randy, and you're thinking maybe your print, maybe your cards, and maybe your signage, or maybe your floor decals. And we can also do this. I mean, think of the telecommunication companies that want to bundle your home TV and your internet and maybe your cellular. You want to go in that direction because it's one-stop shopping and making it simple. So again, that pain point, making it simple for the buyer, one-stop shopping, I can take care of all those needs. And make that. I'm going to throw a couple of words here, a few words in the chat. I was on a Canadian Chamber AGM a few weeks ago, and chambers from across the country are using these words as we are in the world of COVID right now. I know the word pivot was overused, so some of these have a very positive tone to them. Adjust, adapt, transform, recover, renew, and rejuvenate. So those are some positive words that you may want to take away and use them in your conversations. So yeah, we're going to wrap it up here. So a big thank you to all of you for attending this master class. We hope you've enjoyed yourself, and a big thank you to Eric for sharing your expertise. Please connect with Eric on LinkedIn and continue your conversation. It does not have to stop here. So connect with him on LinkedIn or any way you feel you wish. You can find him in the Chamber directory, Chamber members.
Awesome. I got about 2 connections already. Thanks for that.
Yeah. And a reminder that next week is Small Business Week. I don't know how this happened. It seemed like it was just a few months ago that we celebrated our businesses last October, but it is Small Business Week, and 83% of our chamber members are small businesses, and that is an organization under 25 employees. That's what we deem a small business. So please be sure to support our small businesses next week, all week long. Buy, shop, eat, drink, and play local. Even exaggerate it and do it more than you might normally do. Eat lunch out every day next week. Support small businesses. And they do need your support now more than ever. And we have a couple of events taking place during Small Business Week, so be sure to visit our events page for a full lineup. And as Eric mentioned, our networking, our business after hours is sold out. The key, as always with the Chamber, is to register early, get engaged, commit to getting out there and joining us. And we also have, on Friday, October 23rd, we have a webinar with BDC, who is our national sponsor for Small Business Week, how entrepreneurs are adapting to the pandemic. So go to your calendars right now, perhaps register for that next Friday. And yeah, that's a wrap. Thanks everybody. Stay dry, stay warm. I've been turning my head because I've been hearing the rain pelt against my window. So stay inside, stay warm, and keep making those connections.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I mean, I've been on a lot of these sales seminars, and I mean, yes, I've been in sales for a while, but I always learn something new. And as someone who's starting a new business, it's always nice to have that refresher. So thanks, Eric, for the tips and refresher. I appreciate that.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Vanessa. You got a great attitude. Keep it up.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. All right. See you guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.